Hello everyone and welcome to my channel on Side Hustle Dreams. In this first video I'm going to show you the reselling business that I've started, giving you some backstory into it and hopefully inspiring others to follow their side hustle dreams. So this series is all about my reselling business, how I started it and where it's going, bringing you all along for the ride as I work on growing my business, with the hope that it can inspire others to follow their passions or side hustles and see where it takes them. And now you're going to have to excuse me for this video as I haven't been feeling the best. You can probably tell by my voice, so I've been quite bunged up. But I really wanted to make this video just because I had the idea for it and I was like, you know, while I've still got time, especially because it's going to be busy the next couple of weeks, let me sit down and actually get this made. So yeah, so thank you for sticking with me. While my eBay account says that I have been a member since 2018, I only started properly selling on the account in 2024. I came into it not really knowing anything, and I did some research to learn about pricing and how to look for items that were selling, especially on eBay. But for the most part, I used trial and error to figure things out. So I bought some interesting things, I bought some popular things, I bought things that didn't really sell. So yeah, but all in all, I've learned so much from it. And because of that, it has given me confidence going into 2025 that my business can grow. So as the channel name suggests, I started selling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace because I have always had the dream of working a 9 to 5 but doing it part-time, with the other days of the week facilitated by side hustles and minimum work income. So I do currently work at 9 to 5 days a week, and this won't be changing anytime soon, but hopefully in the next 5 years I can bring about the change that I want to see. Why I don't call it passive income is because I feel for the most part you will always have to do some work. It won't be completely passive income, and so to not mislead myself or those that are watching, I like to call it minimum work income instead, because then at least it still shows that there is some work that will have to go into it. It might not be a lot, but there's still some work that will have to go into it. So if I could get myself to 3 days of a working week, with the other 2 days being taken up by my side hustles, then I feel like I've won. Because then that would hopefully free up some more time for myself in the future. While I'm still quite young now, I do plan on having a family in the future, and I want to be able to set things in place now, so that in the future I can have more time for them, have more time for myself, have more time for my partner, have more time for my parents, my siblings, friends, etc. So as my side hustles can keep growing, and it will also help to break up the work week, so give me something to do that isn't just a typical 9 to 5 days a week. So those are sort of the reasons as to why I started the side hustle and reselling. It was to sort of grow it into a place which can help me in the future to just have more free time and to be able to be doing other things in the week than just a job, basically. So how this will work is each episode I will introduce the item that is being sold that day. I'll then give some history and some backstory of the item, followed by the promotional code for that item. So this promotional code is something that I've made myself, and it will give 10% off of that particular item, with each being unique to the item showcased in that episode. So you'll also be able to find the code in the description of the video as well, as by watching the video and seeing the code in the video. So once you have the code, if you head over to my eBay page, which you can find the link in the description, and send me a message with the code for the item of that video, then I can apply the 10% discount to your order, as well as potentially be open to further negotiations depending on the item, depending on how much I bought it for and how much it's selling, etc. So remember, it will only be one promotional code per purchase. So for example, if I have multiple items for sale and you get the promo code for each item and you want to apply each item's code in one big transaction, that will not be possible. Instead, you'll only be able to apply one promo code for the whole purchase. However, if you purchase each item individually, then you can use each promo code for each individual purchase. So it would be 10% off each item that you purchase individually. And in the spirit of new journeys, I thought I'll show the promo code for the first item that I'll be making a video on. So on screen you'll see the promo code, and if you look at the description you'll also see the code as well. And this is for the white books that I have on sale on my eBay account, and those are just basically books for lawyers or legal students, or just people in general who like law. They're about the CPR, the civil procedure rules, which are very important rules when it comes to law, when it comes to taking things to court, etc. So these books are from a company called Sweet and Maxwell, and there's the two volume 1 and volume 2 which go in full detail about the CPR rules, and then there's the supplementive text as well, which sort of just have extra information. So I'm selling both volume 1 and volume 2, and then the supplementive text number 2 and the supplementive text number 3. I don't have number 1 unfortunately, but at least it will give you quite a lot of content when it comes to CPR rules if you're interested in sort of just reading those, or if you need them for your own reference as a lawyer, etc. And like I said earlier, if you take down the code, then send me a message on eBay with the code, and I will then provide the discount to your order of the white books. And because of the type of item that they are, I might be open to further negotiations as well. So yeah, so that's just sort of something for the first video and for the first items being sold. Once I've introduced the item of the day and given a brief history and a backstory of the item, as well as going over the promotional code, I'll then show a picture of the eBay page on the video, as well as letting you know how much I spent on that item. So I want to be as transparent as possible when it comes to these things, as I just want to show you how much I spent on an item and then how much it sells for, with the profit and loss being shown afterwards, so you can see if I've made profit from the item or if that item was a loss, etc. Yeah, so again, it's all learning. It just helps me in the future as well, because if I run across a particular item or similar item, then I've got it in video form, so I can sort of see how well it did that time, as well as looking at my own documents and accounts and everything. And then also it's learning for yourselves as well, so then you can look over the video and you can see, okay, then so this person, they bought this for this much and then they sold it for this much. Did they make profit on it? Did they make a loss on it? How much did they make, etc.? Is this something that maybe I can try and do? Maybe with a similar item, doesn't have to be the exact same item, because everyone's different when it comes to selling things, and some people might struggle, whereas others might find it easier. But at least it just gives you an idea of where to go from. I'll then also provide an update for past items in future videos, especially if the item hasn't been sold yet, and I plan to initially release a new video each month, with the hope to increase that to 2 videos a month. So the main reason why I'm sort of only focusing on 1 video at the moment a month is because I also run another channel called Regalian Stories, where I tell original stories that I've created, and then that takes up some of my time as well. Then, like I mentioned, I do work a 9 to 5 as well, so I don't have as much free time. But I'll put the link in the description of my other channel if you ever wanted to go and check that out. If you're into fantasy and adventure stories, then you might find those interesting. So in the beginning, I'll be showing 1 item each video, but I'll be creating YouTube shorts for other items that I'm selling, just so that you have updates in terms of the items that have been sold, in terms of how they're doing, in terms of the interest that they're gathering, etc. And then it also means that you've always got content as well, which you can watch and you can see progress of things in real time. Again, just to sort of help yourselves out, because we're all on this journey together. So that about wraps up this intro video. I hope you all enjoy this journey and it becomes fruitful for all of us. I might not be an expert, but I can try to answer questions, so if anyone has any, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Other than that, let's all be respectful and supportive. A lot of people are struggling right now and turning to side hustles to support themselves, me included, as I use my side hustles to help me pay off my debts and also help me save for my future as well. So let's do our best to prop each other up and educate each other whenever we can. I want this to be a sort of chill and relaxing space for those looking to take their first steps into side hustles and reselling. My goal for the channel is to be able to provide a timeline for people to see, to give a more realistic view on how much items cost, how much they can potentially sell for, how long it can take for a sale to happen, because this was actually something that sort of that I didn't realize when I first started. I was thinking, by the end of the month I should be able to sell all the things that I bought during that month, but sometimes it can take 2, 3, sometimes 4 months for a particular item to sell. Sometimes it's the more expensive stuff, sometimes it's the cheaper stuff, but there's just not interest in it. And sometimes I've got items that are listed and still have not been sold, and that was months ago. So that's one of the main things I think, is that sometimes when you see videos of other people, you see them buy something today, and then by the end of the week they've sold it, or by tomorrow they've sold it. And while that can happen, depending on the item that you're buying, it's not always the case. So I feel like it's good to sort of have a more realistic view of it, and to realize, say, okay, then if I buy something now, I might not sell it by the end of the month, I might sell it next month, I might sell it the month after. And sometimes randomly you'll be struggling to sell something, and all of a sudden someone comes along who that's the right item for them, and then they come and buy it and catches you by surprise. And it's like, wow, you know, I've been struggling to sell this for 3 months, and now all of a sudden someone's just come along and bought it full price. So it's things like that, but it's that whole thing of just never giving up, keeping your items on there, keep sharing them, keep getting them out there, keep promoting them, and eventually someone will come along, because that particular item will be for them. It will just take some time. So I want to also showcase the work and the hours that can go into reselling each week and each month. As again, this is something, well, to be honest, when I first went into it, I didn't really sort of have an idea of how long things would take, because I'd never done it before. But depending on the item, sometimes you can get it listed quite quickly. Like for example, the white books, because they're just books, you just show the inside of the books, make sure that you look through them yourself, make sure that like there's no marks or anything on them, or that kind of thing. But because they're just books, there's only so much that you need to do to make sure that they're in good condition. And then when it comes to pictures, there's only so many pictures you can take to show that they're in good condition. But then I've sold things like tablets before. Those can be a little bit more, because there's a lot more work that you have to put into them. You have to make sure that they turn on, make sure that they charge properly, you have to test how long they can charge for, how long they can hold a charge, how well they play videos, how well they play games, how quick they are, how well they search, their storage capacity, so on and so on. So there's those different things that people will ask you about, and things that you didn't even realize, you know. So when it comes to selling things like that, it might take a little bit more time to sort of be able to get the item, look through it, and then put it up for reselling. So it's just sort of just getting an idea in terms of how long some things can take when it comes to putting them up, and the work that goes into them, and the hours that go into them. But ultimately, my goal is to give you a look behind the curtain of reselling from my point of view, so you can have more of an idea of how reselling works and whether it's for you. I won't be able to tell you what items to buy, as everyone's experiences are different, and while I might sell something well, you might struggle with the same item, and vice versa. You might sell something well, and then I might struggle with the same item. It just depends. Many different factors that go into it, and because it's impossible to fully judge how long something will take to sell, or how well it will sell as well, how much profit you'll make from it, etc. It's impossible to say, and anyone who says that they can tell you, most often than not, they can't, and it's just from their own experiences, which, like I said before, might not be the same as yours. So I can tell you that a lot of the items I currently do get are from auction sites, but I do plan on using Facebook Marketplace more, going out, finding other items, you know, finding people that are selling things for cheap, who are moving, etc. Once I get my driving license, then I want to go out and find those items. But hopefully my videos can give you some inspiration on some items to sell, an idea of what to look out for, and also just the encouragement and the confidence to, you know, start small, and then work your way up. I think I started with £100 or £50, and while I haven't looked at like a balance sheet to sort of see how much I've made or the losses that I've made, etc., but all in all, it's still been a fun experience, and I know I still have made some money. And to be honest, the money from this has helped me out in certain situations when I've been struggling for money. Like in August, I was struggling for money. I sold something really well, and that helped me throughout August. So it's things like that, you know. So while I might not have a proper balance sheet in terms of how much money I've made, etc., I'm going to put one together, and I'm able to show you all properly. But it's still helpful. It's still been a fun process anyway. So like I say, I started with about £50, £100, and then now I still try and work within sort of similar margins. I do, you know, sometimes buy things that are a lot more expensive because I now have more money to play with, but I try not to go too high. I've done that before with certain things. I spent £600 on something, and then it's taken months to sell, and then that £600 is a lot of money that I now didn't have, because I was expecting it to sell quicker than it did. When it finally did sell, it sold for £900, so I made £300 profit. But for the amount of time it took, it's like you sit down and you're like, was it worth it, kind of thing. So yeah, but I feel like that's also where the fun aspect comes in as well, because sometimes it's nice to just get a new item and just mess around with it. Sometimes you want to keep something, sometimes like, oh, actually this can make a good present. Remember one time I bought a Polaroid camera and an Apple Watch. I managed to get them for a good price because Apple Watch was refurbished. Polaroid camera was completely new in the box, and I ended up giving the Apple Watch to my sister as a birthday present, and it was something that completely caught her off guard because of how expensive they can be. And it made for an amazing present, and she loves it up to this day. So it's things like that where you buy certain things and you're like, oh, actually this is actually really nice. You get to just mess around with items without the commitment of being like, I have to keep this in now, kind of thing. You're buying them to sell them, but if it works out that you really like the item, you can always keep it, and you got it for a good price. So it's just looking at it as not just, oh, I'm getting these things to sell them and I have to make money from them, kind of thing. It's just trying to have fun with it while at the same time growing a business as well. So always make sure that you still have items that you are buying to sell, of course, so you can grow your business. But I just mean, don't be so strict with it, or then you'll start to be disappointed if you don't see results quickly. And finally, I want this channel to also create a learning environment. I might be new to reselling myself, even though I started in April. I did take 2 months out. Well, I wasn't really sort of doing reselling. They were quite busy months, and I just had a lot going on, and also they were quite expensive months as well, so I couldn't really be putting much money into anything else. I ended up using my business money for other things, so I would have to put more of my own money back in to sort of start it up again, and I just couldn't at that time. So yeah, so even though I started doing it in April, like I say, I'm still learning. I've taken months out, but now I plan on doing this properly for 2025. So I might be new to it, but I plan on learning and growing as much as I can, taking those lessons and passing them on to yourselves as well, to the viewers, so you are equipped with knowledge when going into side hustles and reselling. So thank you for watching this video, and let's work together to turn those side hustle dreams into reality.